Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having an awesome day today. It's Friday. God has kept us and blessed us another week. What do you say? Let's go ahead and gather our faith around us and get ready to go out here and finish this week strong as we get ready to go into the weekend. Hey, welcome to another edition of Take 5. The subject we're dealing with this week, we called it Rapture Q A, questions and answers. And what we have done all week long is talked about what seems to be the four most asked questions concerning the rapture. I don't have time to rename those other three. Let's go ahead and jump into number 4 so we'll have time to talk about that one today. Here's the final question for the week. Will people who reject the gospel and miss the rapture have another opportunity to be saved during the tribulation? This is one of the number one prophecy questions that people often ask. And I think much of the interest stems from the fact that all of us have friends, family, and loved ones who have heard the truth about Christ, but they have rejected that free offer of salvation. And we ask this because we wonder if they will have another opportunity to receive Christ if the rapture happens before they change their mind. Now, there are some people that ask that question that are playing games with God. They're not saved and they're trying to go right down to the end. They want to see just how close they can live to the world and be saved, and they're taking great chances with their life. And some of them are asking that. I even had one young man tell me that if he didn't get saved before the rapture happened, he knew what to do. He'd get saved during the tribulation. Well, that's a big chance to take. And so that's why a lot of people, that and our concern of our loved ones, that's why people ask this. Now, the Bible's filled with verses that teach us there will be many people, thousands, millions of people saved during that tribulation. In fact, it seems that one of the chief purposes is salvation for the Jews and the rest of the world that will follow Christ and not the Antichrist. You know, Joel chapter 2, that powerful scripture that talks about prophecy that Peter repeated in Acts 2 on the day of Pentecost. He says, I will show wonders in heaven and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke. Now, all that happens during the tribulation, right? The sun will be turned to darkness, the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Watch this now. And everyone that calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. For on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, there will be deliverance, as the Lord said. So there will be absolutely people saved, millions of people saved during the tribulation. A great revival is going to happen during that time. As a matter of fact, if you read Revelation chapter 7, I don't have time to read all of the verses, but if you start about verse 9 and go to the end of the chapter, you'll find an innumerable multitude, the Bible said there, of nations and tribes and peoples and tongues. People from all over the world standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, saying salvation belongs to our God. John is writing this, and he said, one of those that were around the throne asked me, who are these? And John said, you know who they are. And this is what that being replied. He said, these are the ones that came out of great tribulation, and they washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore, they're before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will dwell among them. So without a doubt, there is going to be a multitude of people saved during the tribulation. It will be one of the greatest revival times that has ever existed. Now, I must throw this in here because this keeps coming up around us in certain realms of religion. There are those that have this idea, people have said it for years, that before Jesus returns, before the rapture, there's going to be this great end time revival where people are going to flock back to the church and they're going to flock back to God, and people are going to stay in the altars and stay in the presence of God, and that's just not in the Bible. You just can't find. What you find is the Bible saying this, that there will be a great falling away. And that's what we're seeing. What you're finding is the Bible saying that in these times, evil men will wax worse and worse. So that's what we're seeing. We're not going to see that revival is going to happen during that time of tribulation. That's when the greatest revival ever has been is going to happen. Millions upon millions will be saved. But the question wasn't, will anybody be saved? The question was, if I reject him now, if somebody rejects him before the rapture, will they get a second opportunity during the time of the tribulation? The first thing I would like to say is, why would you want to tempt fate? The second thing is, I want to read a passage from 2 Thessalonians that Paul said, and this can vary in interpretation, but just listen to what he says. And I'm going to have to skip some of it for sake of time as well. So he talks about the Antichrist has come to power and he's deceiving so many there. And he said, and in all ways wickedness deceives those that are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. And for this reason, God gave them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie, and so that all will be condemned who have not believed the truth but have delighted in wickedness. Now, some people say that this passage is stating that anyone that rejects the gospel before the rapture will not be given an opportunity to be saved during the tribulation. Instead, because they rejected him before the rapture, instead they're going to be given over to a powerful delusion that will prevent them from being saved. And I used to believe this wholeheartedly, but I'm not so sure that's what it means for two reasons. Reason number one, I believe, is this: Paul could very well be talking about people that reject the truth and follow the Antichrist after the rapture. He may not be talking about people before the rapture. So to say that this is only people who rejected truth before the rapture is making this verse say more than the context does. Secondly, the Jews reject Jesus today by the millions, but millions of them are going to be saved during the tribulation. In fact, God's going to save and raise up 144,000 Jews to preach the gospel to the world. So they're rejecting him now. They are going to receive an opportunity to be saved then. So I just think that it is beyond our right of interpretation to say that people will not get a second opportunity. God is going to use the horrors of the tribulation to bring millions of sinners to faith in his Son. And there will be a great revival like this world has never seen during the tribulation. And among this numberless crowd, there will no doubt be some that have been given a second opportunity at grace. I don't know why anyone would want to take a chance like this. And here's something to chew on throughout the weekend, okay? Even if you're given a second opportunity during the tribulation, the first thing you've got to do is survive the chaos on earth that's caused by the rapture. I don't think this is something that we should procrastinate in doing. People need to be saved. Christians need to be doing their job and telling them about Jesus and about his grace and about the rapture and about the horrors of that tribulation that is to come. Jesus told us to watch and be ready and to work until he comes. And I sincerely hope today that you are busy doing both. Well, hey, it's been good being with you today. I look forward to worshiping with you this weekend, this Sunday as we gather together. And I look forward to being with you next week as we start a brand new series of Take 5 devotions. Until then, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Hey, trust the Lord, friend. He will never fail you.